Yo, what's going on, guys? Let's take a look at NVCN because obviously we talked about this one a little while back and we had some pretty crazy price action happen here. So, this is on the weekly time frame here, so you can see that basically so far what it did was it came back down and tested this weekly 21 EMA, and it looks like it wicked down and just about touched it at 129. So, I want to take a look at some shit that happened here. This was one of Chris Sain's calls here. He got me in on this one. I don't know anything about it, but I did run some charts and some trend lines here just to see, the cycle of it and how everything has gone here on this thing. So, you know, basically, at one point it was up on this trend line here at $3, and you can kind of see the price action swings that it has had. So it came down here and it likes to bounce off this bottom trend line here that's at $1.41. According to this like downsloping resistance here. Well, it was higher down there, now it's lower here. So what really is going on right here? So this was the pattern that it's in, which is kind of like a falling wedge or big pennant or something, right? And at one point in October, it actually dropped and fell out of this pattern and came all the way down to this bottom trend line here, where it consolidated, double bottomed, came back up, and it's been trending in this somewhat of a, it's almost like a rising channel, I guess, is more so what it looks like here. And it had a massive breakout of it. And it came all the way up and double topped on this trend line up here. And ever since it's been falling here. So what it did actually, though, is so far, is it's came down here and it's back tested this support line here that in the past when it tried to test this support line here, it fell through and went all the way to the bottom here. It did look like it was trying to make a gigantic W here, and then something happened and it got rejected and just sold the hell off. I don't know if there was some kind of news catalyst or something, right? But it just rolled the fuck over. And then it made this massive rounding bottom, and now it's coming back down here to test this area again as support. So, I actually, with you guys, I had entered somewhere when we were talking about this recently. I don't remember, but I was talking about buying some somewhere. Was it right around here? Buying some on that fib level here when Chris Sain was talking about it. Now, did I see any of this bullshit coming? I did not. That's on me. That shit sucked. I thought we were going to be making some kind of inverse head and shoulders here. This looked like the left shoulder. This looked like a head, and it looked like we were maybe making a right shoulder. And I think I entered somewhere in the bottom here, and we ran all the way up to $2, and I sold it somewhere up here, and then I just kind of waited a little bit, and we started creating what looked like maybe some type of flag here or something, but I couldn't decide what it was. There was so many spinning tops here that it was just like something's happening here. So I actually, I got out of this thing somewhere on this pump here. I think I got out right here below this EMA. And after that, we just fucking completely tanked, absolutely obliterated, right? And we fell all the way down. And look at this. This thing wicked all the way during the crash when all this markets pulled back. It wicked all the way down here. So what's going on right now is we are testing this support here. So this support line is at 140, 141. So you can see in the past we did touch this green trend line here many, many times, which right now this green trend line is at $1.37. We do have some moving averages that are crossing on the hourly here. This one looks like it's about to cross here. So my opinion on this one would be, if you are in this play, that if you can risk it coming back down here to 131, maybe put a stop loss somewhere in this range here, because if in fact it can't hold this level here, then it could come all the way back down to this bottom trend line. Sorry to say, at 50 cents, and I have a downside target of 89 cents if this is a rising channel and it breaks down. If it can hold this green support line here, which is at a $1.40, and you have this bottom support that it looks like it wicked down to prior, and if it can't hold this is at a $1.33, then obviously it'll continue down. But it really depends on how the market's going to react here, because we have trended in here quite a bit. So if we do continue doing that, that would be an excellent thing for this stock here. But if it doesn't and it can't hold, then obviously you could see some pretty solid downside before further upside later on. So I just want to put this one on the radar here as far as what's going on. I mean, if you look at a lot of these stocks, they were in some pretty bullish patterns, and they got completely destroyed. So, being in plays like this is a little bit more scary here. And looking at the daily RSI, if in fact we are going to come lower, we could come lower here. We fell right out of what looked to me like a potential bull flag, but I guess it ended up being a rising channel, or it just fell out of this potential bull flag here. And it looks like a bull flag. You got the big flag coming up, and then it's trending in here. But I guess since it's pointing upwards, I mean, maybe it's more of a rising channel, or it was a rising channel. But needless to say, luckily for me, I got the fuck out, because the market was doing so crappy, and like this thing bounced and shit, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna free up some cash because and I'll be in profits, because I bought a little bit at that same fib level we talked about here at 1.86. I bought a little there. Chris Sane was talking about it being in the buy zone. I was talking about it potentially coming down to a little bit lower level, but I was going to buy some at 186 and then buy some down here at 166. And we, instead of taking off, we fucking dumped and fell right through this support zone here. So that was pretty intense. So this is kind of where we're at. You can kind of see all of the patterns here. And another thing that I want to be careful of as well, looking at this thing now on a further basis, depending if it does play out like this, is that this thing is starting to look a little potentially like, if it is going to play out, a big head and shoulders pattern, or on the bullish side of it, it could be a big inverse head and shoulders here. So, like I said, it really depends on how this wants to play out here. I don't know anything about this company. I literally was just doing it as a small, like, easy money play type of deal. And, when the markets are crazy like this, easy money plays can easily turn around on you, because the big money is going to get the fuck out of these speculative stocks and stuff like that. So that being said, this isn't a very safe play right now. You can see the 4-hour EMA is coming down, which means it could be pushing us down lower here. So, if this is something that you really like and you're invested in it, and you have a strong average somewhere up in this $1.60 area here, you can either just wait and hold it out if you don't need the cash, or you can play it safe and say, you know what, I'm okay with losing what I have here if it keeps me from sitting down in the potentially 30-cent range. But I'm not saying it has to go there, because you do have a lot of support right here at $1.39, and you have a lot of support here at the $1.35, and you have this 200 EMA at the $1.29, $1.28. So, you can see that this wick perfectly came down and touched here. So we do want to be a little bit cautious, though, with something like this, because if, in fact, it does want to, be long-term bullish, then what you could potentially see, if we look on a weekly time frame here, because this is a trend reversal candle, in my opinion, but I don't like that it, you don't want it to fall below this 21-week EMA. So your stop loss would want to be at $1.26, in my opinion. Because if in fact it is going to be something that will eventually turn into something bullish long term, you could be looking at, and this is just me speculating because I don't know where it's going right now, but it could be something that turns into a big W, could be something that turns into a big cup and handle, or it could be something that, if maintains this level, turns into a big inverse head and shoulders here. So, for me, I'm not long term investing in this thing. I'm just trying to make quick money, and I was trying to make some, and I literally didn't make really much at all. It was came up with like fucking 5-10 cents. That wasn't really much. But I'd like to see this thing hold the support here at $1.31 area here, because even if it takes a couple weeks or months here, if you can actually get a double bottom out of here and break this level here, that would be a solid trade. For me, seeing like, how long this could take, for me, I would probably wait. And if I can see us starting to get support above this $2.51 level, that's probably where I would enter. Only if we can get support and maintain at least like a few, maybe a 4 hourly close above this, or a daily close above it. If you want to go really long on it, you'd probably want to be safe with a daily close on that. And then your next potential level up after that, if you can find support here, would be this level up here. And you could either buy there, sell up here, then wait for confirmation here, and then you're fucking off to the races. So, I mean, could I look for a long-term target on this thing? I definitely could, but that doesn't mean that it's time to do that now. But I want to show the potential of the breakouts here, of this pattern, if and when it decides to break out. So just so you know, for long-term investing here, if we do trend in here a little bit longer here for another, I don't know how long this would be from now till then, right? I can look at the time. So this looks like in 2022, if it takes that long here, or end of 2021 maybe, if in fact you're up here in this $3 range, your breakout target of this thing is up in the $11 range, $11 range. But the downside to it is that if it takes a little bit longer, it could actually trend here for a little while. So whether it does something like that, or it ends up trending in here for a breakout. So I want to show you guys this so that we know the bigger pattern that we're in, and then we know where we're at right now. So the safest way to play this thing is you either wait for confirmation above this $1.92 level, and you really need some confirmation here. If this is just a small weekly correction and the next week we're going to start moving up, it's hard to say right now, depending on how the markets react. If everything starts bouncing back from stimulus, then you could be looking at something decent. But your swing trade off of this level, right? I'll show you guys. If, me's talking about all the scary drops right here, say this doesn't occur and, the market starts turning back around, we start getting some green buybacks here, we maybe break back up, we start trending up in this level, I want to talk about what we could do here. So what you would do is you could, if you get like an hourly close, or let's actually look at the hourly real quick, because that might not even be that helpful, but I want to see if we even got any hourly closes above. So we did over here, and we just rolled right over, right? So what you could do, though, if in fact it does start to get back up in this level, unless you just want to get the hell out because your average is up here and you say, I'm done with this thing for a while. But if you weren't done with this and you were looking at it and the market starts turning around, you'd probably want to look for it to find some support in this $2 range, and then you would keep your stop loss somewhere below this level. But you can see here that it's tried to get out of this range quite a bit, and it just hasn't been able to do so. So, it being down here right now, if you were to come up here at some point here, $1.72. You have to get back inside this pattern here. And, if you wanted to play some type of long from here, you would want to wait for it to get some support here. It's $1.75. And then you could run it up to this $1.92, maybe sell it. And if it breaks above that, find support on this $2 range. Then you can start thinking about it coming up to this 269, with the exception of some, obviously, 252 has been some pretty strong resistance, as of late. So you'd want to kind of do something like this to remind yourself of your resistance here, right? But that's obviously the bullish case scenario if we don't continue down here, if we don't fall out of this, what looks to me, now that I'm looking at it, potentially a rising channel that could have a downside target of 92 cents. Doesn't have to come back down here, of course, and this could end up being some type of area of support, but we don't know that just yet. But some of these wicks can be some type of confluence here. So we'll go like that. Based off of those supports there, we could come down to this support box down here. And if we do decide to turn around at some point, or just ride this trend line here for a while, would be absolutely excellent. If we can just ride this, then we can move our way out. But to me, it might be easy. It might be, I don't know. It depends. If you guys are in this thing and you did your research on the companies, then you might be okay with waiting and just averaging down if it comes down to this support box here, if it comes down even lower here. But if not, then, you could wait it out and just keep your stop loss somewhere below this trend line here, probably below the weekly EMA like we talked about, $1.25. And if it falls below that, then you could just take that little bit of a loss and then wait and see if we can get any type of consolidation here. Maybe comment back on this video if you guys notice it do that. I'll try to keep an eye on it. But if it does fall below there, then obviously... But you have to get like a hourly close or a daily close above this, below this line here. Probably an hourly close, because as you see here, we haven't really ever gotten below that. So that is a good sign as far as that. But we got to be careful with all these moving averages, and this massive, powerful down could bring us down pretty far. But right now we are holding this level here. So let's see how this plays out. And we'll pretty much keep wicking down here to like this $1.40. But, below that, $1.26 is below that weekly there. $1.28, something like that. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm really hoping that this thing turns back around, because if it does, it looks really good for longer term as far as this pattern here. It's just not ready to break out yet, so it's going to take some time. But long-term upside does look really good, though. So when it does actually have a nice breakout. So that's something to keep in mind, and I'd like to see this being turned into some type of support here, because that would be huge. So let's just keep an eye on this thing and just watch this level here, because if it does actually maintain this as support, that would be fucking pretty massive for a structural standpoint here. So, I'm not trying to scare anyone out. I just want to give the downside and upside targets. But also in bull markets here, usually you come down and test these weekly EMAs here, and that's exactly what was done. So, the RSI did reset, and it is still resetting, and there's no signs of bounces on the weekly. And you can see where it's been in the past here. It has came all the way down there. So it's still possible that it does do something like that before it can have any chance. Maybe it was ready to break out. Maybe it was ready to head up further. It sure looked like it. That was a beautiful run it had. But obviously, with the sentiment going on in the market now, this game might be getting changed now, and it might be slowing the stock down from the fast growth opportunity that it had while the market was running really, really hard. But, the selling isn't very big. You don't have very big sell volume either. So I hope this helps, and, let me know if you guys like this. Like I said, this is kind of your support here, 128. So below that, you don't really want to be, I wouldn't really want to be in that. But as of right now, you got next week you got 139 as a 140 as a very strong support for now until it breaks. All right, guys.